So recently, I participated in a 25 player game, and for some reasons we had to cancel the game after 1 year game time. However, that was useful to actually check out the expansion graphs for all the 25 players who participated. And as you can see, my Yomi did quite well despite actually having what I would call an average expansion for the build. So what exactly is the secret for Yomi doing best out of 25 players? Well, let's first start with discussing my bless. So the part which is relevant here for expansion is fortitude, regeneration and natural protection. And sometimes shock resistance. There is always a chance to meet encounter some cloud mages or some kind of other air mages when expanding, and they can be quite nasty, so shock resistance might matter. In itself though, knowing this bless is not enough to understand how to actually speed up expansion with it. The trick is to do something a little bit maybe unexpected. Basically, what I do is to actually turn my initial Onishugu into a mini awake expander, and I achieved this by giving him, basically by prophetizing him. And the reason why prophetizing is important is to actually give him the ability to cast Holy Avenger to increase the damage it can do on indies, because while all the fortitude and regeneration and hard skin, and actually it's better armor because he has a helmet unlike the Dione, or help for survival, it has no fear, and without fear it basically has no chance to really route indies just by doing sword damage to them, or at least it will take really long and you don't want to get into this tower. Adding the smites of Holy Avenger actually makes the entire thing work a lot better, and he does have a realistic chance to take a lot, many kinds of provinces, not all though. Some provinces must be avoided, specifically those which have mindless things like long dead horsemen in them, or berserkers, because the berserkers will just fight and fight and prolong the battle. Right here, just human infantry, not much of an issue. We get finally damaged a little bit to get some smites. And it will win this one. A few words about Dionis. While they lack a helmet, the new size system in Dominion 6 is in their favor, because size 7 is actually outside human spearman reach, who only reach the heads of size 6 creatures. And also it's outside of the, very importantly, outside the reach of things like caveman great clubs, and of course outside the reach of barbarian great swords. So in this sense, not having a helmet in Dominion 6 is much less of an issue for expansion. Dionis, they just go and kill stuff with this bless, or maybe not just so much kill them, just rout them with fear. Nerf of fear didn't affect Dionis that much, because they have their own dead path here, and this actually should be more due to that, or maybe not. Maybe just 5, not 8, but we'll see. Technically this is a new run on the bottom because we have a new patch, even 2 since this actually happened. And of course you can have some expansion with actual troops. You have a small initial army, you can reinforce it. Just be sure to not spend overly much on it. You don't want to block your die only recruitment. You probably need 2 die onlys, possibly 3 depending on how free the map is for expansion, which alongside the Onishugu Prophet and some support by troops can expand quite well. I guess here we don't really lose much for this group of. Now let's observe another battle of the Prophet. He probably cannot deal with real heavy cavalry like cataphracts in this age, but the ones with light lances aren't much of an issue. Of course, this being Dominions means things can happen. For example, this guy here, it actually got muted, meaning that he needs to die soon enough so that I can prophetize somebody else. This somebody else could be, by the way, like something like a flyer, like Black Hawk, because this will allow to move and lead parties of Tengus for surprising long range strikes. And that's why for next turn I actually send him to die against the lizards, because I don't think he can handle the lizards. That's natural, they do a lot of damage. At least for Onishugu, Dionis can handle them. With my bless, of course. Or other appropriate blesses for expansion, for example, Origin is also pretty strong bless, but it's not as good for the things. Basically, it's not as good for what Shikome can face later in the game and can deal with. And I think somewhere I had a caveman battle with Dione. Let's see, maybe here. Obviously important to get some heroic traits. If you get toughness or beast, that's great. This one here, yeah, actually got a pretty good one, because Dionis with these traits can actually become real super commanders, not just like heavy ticks or whatever they can normally be, in my definition at least. Of course, you can get some mercenaries, which are good, because again, you don't need to spend that much on troops like other nations. You can spend on tempers or mercenaries or whatever is best for the situation. I'm not sure. Somewhere I had a caveman battle, but not sure which turn it was. Nope. Ah, here. Okay. So this is like not a small amount of cavemen. Usually considered difficult, but again, First of all, your head is out of reach, so you don't care about this. And second of all, this guy here is actually the one with the heroic ability, so just... By the way, when Dionis gain experience, because how hit points are awarded earlier now, uh, sometimes you can see how going from 50 to 51 hit points from experience will immediately add a regeneration point in combat. And yeah, just not really a challenge for this Dione. And yeah, that's how we ended up, as I mentioned, with this kind of expansion, 30 poisons in 1 year, which is not bad again for a nation which is not, and a blast which is not necessarily focused on expansion that much. Thanks for watching and good luck in your demon games with Yomi.